If
And
he's a guru, what does the disciple get from him that the disciple could not get from just being a member of Iskcon or reading Prabhupada's books and listening to Prabhupada's lectures?
my question is coming from a different source of discussion that we had previously. That
Yes.
we were discussing about that conversation with Sridhar Swami, in which he instructed up to disciples of Srila Prabhupada, if any one of you want to become a guru, then you must go out of Iskcon, start your own organization, and then become a guru. So if there is some disciple who just goes out, starts his own organization, and then becomes a guru and makes new disciple in his own name, so is that
Well,
justified?
is that bona fide?
Yeah, justified or bona fide, whatever we can say.
Okay, so that consider we're talking about the year 2022. What about 500 years from now? Where will that way of doing things end up?
Yeah, I understood like what you want to say.
Yeah, well, won't it? Well, what do you think? Where will it end up?
Yeah, it won't end
Will
up.
express
I don't think that.
It will end up in Russia.
Yeah, don't you think there'll be 5,000 gurus with 5,000 different interpretations?
Yes, there would be. There would
And would
be.
is that a good thing?
Most practical thing could be just preserving Prabhupada's teachings, lectures, and propagating them.
If, but is there any guarantee? If a guy wants to be a guru, we in this sessions here, we like to avoid the word guru because the word guru really means boss.
master of all senses. Master of all senses.
Well, we say, but guru means heavier than me. Prabhupada said, whoever, technically, when Mahit, if you say something that I don't know, and you do know,
Yes.
then you're
I'm a
guru
guru.
to me. Then you're guru to me.
Yeah, that's the meaning, real meaning. Yeah, bro. Got it.
Yeah. So the problem with the word guru is we're trying to eliminate it, and we're trying to stick with the word acharya. And acharya
Yeah, so
means the
Acharya is
person who
Prabhupada.
delivers by example, and he has to be an uttamadhikari. That means descended from Krishna Loka. As far as gurus are concerned, Prabhu, have you ever read the Ramachandra? Can you clue in on the topic of the 5th verse of the Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrita?
Yeah. Neophyte devotee can become a guru if he wants, but his disciples would remain on the same platform due to insufficient guidance.
Yeah. So how much insufficient guidance does the world needing right now?
Like we already have Joe Biden.
He's our guru.
So we don't want any more words. We don't want any more insufficient guidance anymore.
Well, the latest thing is a bird pooped on Biden. while
Yeah,
he was
so
giving a
Prabhu,
talk.
like for like next 50 years, I just wanted to know like what's going to happen, because right now the present condition of this society, the things are so much like, even if we say politically or administratively, things are so much complicated that they are not going to rectify in any sense. So only solution that I can see is that individual devotees start their new organizations to and start
They can
preaching
do that,
Prabhupada's
but they
message.
cannot become guru.
Exactly.
Why not? If they start their own organization, why not have Prabhupada as the guru?
Yeah,
Exactly,
the same thing, like
Same thing, bro. Yeah.
keeping
Prabhupada
Prabhupada in center.
is the guru of the guru, right?
Yeah.
That's what
If there's a
Narayan bro,
guru,
I
if he
told you.
can't choose some, what? Go ahead.
Narayan bro, I just told you
This is Mohit
to-
speaking.
sorry,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you, Vinayak bro. I just told you this, bro, 2 days back, right? So then you were saying that we need to hijack this, first hijack this Iskcon moment and then make them what Prabhupada said, right? Then we
Exactly.
can make our own temple. So I was also the same on the same page that we should make our own temple. Individual devotees should make their own temples, and then they can preach more and more, and then we can distribute prasadam and whatever is done in a temple, right? Or we can open an apartment and do it like that. Yeah. Rather than
But the point
blaspheming
is,
or rather than going against these guys, because it's too much now,
you
bro.
see, people
We have
are
had enough.
confusing.
Yeah.
People are getting two things mixed together. One is GBC and GBC gurus, and the other is Iskcon. The GBC has no relationship whatsoever to Iskcon. They're just pirates, thieves. They were supposed to be elected as temple presidents that were elected for 3-year terms. They've been there for 50 years. So they're gangsters. We should not give them the credit. You know, just like if somebody comes into your house and takes over your household at gunpoint, do you start calling them mother and dad, mommy and daddy, because they have a gun?
No, you
Daniel,
can.
We get emotionally whipped into thinking
Yeah.
that we have to go along with it. Why do we? Frankly, I don't know how you see it because it's hard to see it this way. But I see Iskcon as transcendental, therefore free from material defects. And if you look at the way Prabhupada established Iskcon, the way you do the deity worship, the classes, the kirtans, the everything, you know, the Tuti, Kirtan, first initiation, second initiation, all those things in Iskcon are fine and they can continue that way forever. So I would say the body of Iskcon is like a healthy athlete ready for the Olympics. But it has a huge cancer, a huge tumor, 50-pound tumor in its waist. So the Iskcon is staggering around, whining about how sick it feels, demanding more and more help to relief from its pain of the tumor. But it is the tumor. Cut out the tumor. In other words, cut out the illicit, illegal, criminal, murderous GBC. We have to cut it out. How do we cut it out? Popular opinion. There's only maybe 100 GBC, even if there's 200, but let's say 100 GBC. And thousands and thousands of devotees. Why can't thousands and thousands of devotees say, basta, which basta, yeah, enough already, enough. And what the GBC says, we own this place. No, you don't. Prabhupada owns it. No, we are authorized by Prabhupada. No, you're not. You rejected his direction of management. You rejected being elected. You own nothing. You're thieves. Oh, well, we can take you to court. Take us to court and we'll expose you as thieves. We have a list of crimes that it would take 2 blocks of paper of scroll to write out all your crimes. Child molestation would not have existed if Prabhupada's GBC had been elected, because the temple president is the GBC. He would never allow a child in his temple to go and be molested. But instead, thousands were molested. And what about lawsuits? If the temples were individually incorporated, how can you sue Iskcon? They sue Iskcon. They got millions of dollars several times, big lawsuits. The temples all went into debt to support the GBC debt lawsuits. But if each temple is individually incorporated, say, I want to sue Iskcon, say, go right ahead. Which Iskcon are you going to sue? Well, there's that one down the street there, a little house. Okay, go sue it. Well, what about the rest of Iskcon? What about the rest of the money? I don't want money from one little house. So that's all you get because you have a complaint against what happened in that one little house. You don't have a complaint what happened in New York or Moscow or Italy or anywhere like that. Where's your complaint with England? Where's your complaint with New York? You're just a little house. One little house. Well, what I thought they do is it's one big corporation. That's the problem. It's become that. But no, not when each one is individually incorporated. You can, if you want to sue the one you have a complaint with. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
In
Prabhu.
other words, I'm
Yeah,
trying
it
to
makes
introduce
sense.
a risky, revolutionary, troubling, gives you shudders word. And that word is common sense.
I know.
As soon as it's Iskcon, it's God, there's GBC, there's a lineage, there's a blah, blah, there's all this stuff, and there's Shastra, and no, there isn't. There's Prabhupada, there's Iskcon, there's Krishna, and that's all you need for 10,000 years. You don't need
Vinayak
all of that
Prabhu, Maharaj,
stuff.
I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt you. Ask a question, Prabhu. Please, please. Go ahead.
Vinayak Prabhu, you know, you asked the question, Naran Prabhu went a little, he answered the
Off track,
question.
huh? Okay, go ahead. Ask
Yeah.
the question again.
Yeah.
You answer it, Ramesh.
So you see the point Naran Prabhu is saying that if you start your own movement or everyone starts their own movement, where will it be after the demise of your body?
Or say after 50, 100, 200 years.
Yeah, where will it be?
There'll be
There
thousands
will
of
be new
individual
people.
little temples.
The same thing would be there. New people will be taking it forward, and Prabhupada would be instructing through his books and lectures in the same movement, and new people would be
Exactly,
helping
Prabhu.
new people getting in
Is-
and
is
following
that-
Krishna
is that- is-
consciousness.
Do you think that's the likely outcome?
Yeah, Prabhu, this is also a great idea, right? I mean, we can preach other people, and after we die, they can go ahead, right? Like, for example, you are preaching us,
Just
Prabhu.
like you are preaching us, so Ramchandra Prabhu
Exactly.
can take forward.
Then
Well, what if
after
people want to
Ramachandra
preach?
Prabhu,
What if
Vinayak
people want
Prabhu
to
can
create
take it
their own?
forward.
What if people want to create their own style, their own religion? Right now, they want their own kirtans. They don't want
Well,
Prabhupada kirtan. They don't want to dance like Prabhupada. They don't want to do the programs like Prabhupada. They want to change the books. So why do you think that would suddenly stop?
So that's their problem, no? We want sincere devotees. That's their problem.
This is Mohit
We
Prabhu
can keep it.
speaking, not me.
You see, there's no control. The GBC is meant to control the standard in the temples by, you have 12 GBCs out of maybe 30, 40 temples. Those 12 GBCs can give mature advice to the new temples so that they don't go off the rails, so they don't commit offenses, so they don't create their own philosophy, so they don't chant their own melodies.
Yeah.
See? How do you keep the standard?
Yeah, the main purpose of the elected GBC is to keep Prabhupada in the center, not to go off center from Srila Prabhupada.
The
Yeah.
elected GBC, the real GBC.
Yeah, the elected
But
GBC.
these GBC's job is to keep you away from Prabhupada, to give you other gurus to distract from Prabhupada,
Hmm.
and then to change the books to suit the current political notions of the society you're in.
Yeah.
So that's all criminal.
Okay, so just 1 second. We have Emmanuel Prabhu from
Oh,
Iskcon
yeah,
of Delaware.
this
Prabhu
new
joining.
devotee is very intelligent. I was there in the last meeting.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Jai Ho, Emmanuel Prabhu ki Jai.
I'm
Hare
here.
Oh,
Hare Krishna, nice to have you, Prabhu.
Oh, Emmanuel. Oh, that's right. That's you. So
Yeah,
far, such an
you should give him a new nice name, Prabhu.
an honor to see you again.
Haribol.
Right.
Nice to see you, Prabhu.
It's very nice to see you too.
Right.
What did we establish that the name Emmanuel meant? Do you remember? You looked it up, I think.
It is God with us. God is with us.
God is with us.
Yes.
Is that what your understanding? Did you
But
ever
this-
look it up?
This was
Ramachandra?
his sister's name earlier.
Yes.
God is with us. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's very good. It's Hebrew or Aramaic possibly, and it's a very wonderful sound vibration. Emmanuel.
Vinayak
Very
Prabhu
beautiful,
remembers
very-
everything about Emmanuel Prabhu.
Very
No,
God
little
brought
bit.
us from another life, Prabhu. Maybe God brothers, right?
Yes.
Right.
So
Prabhu,
all I can say is we're going on and on, but all I can say is welcome back.
So, Prabhu, the final
Okay.
answer to Vinayak Prabhu's question is like Vinayak Prabhu was again saying this key. I mean, if we can open a temple, then you would be guiding us through Prabhupada, and then it would be Ramachandra Prabhu, and then after Ramachandra Prabhu, Vinayak Prabhu can continue years and years, and then it would go. Why
Oh,
is
yes.
why is it we are involving
I-
people in that? People
I've
will
done
come
that
and
myself.
go.
I've done that myself. I opened 2 temples. That
In
were-
Los Angeles?
Yes. And one temple, I had like 30 people in it. The other temple, we had meetings and had 50 people coming to the meetings, to the kirtans. Oh yeah, you can do that. But that's not the way of the future. That's a way to live your life now. If that's what you want to do to live your life now, of course do that. Of course create a temple. And maybe
Yeah, but I
if
want to
we-
do something substantial, Prabhu. Like in these meetings, we can discuss this thing, how something substantial could be built. So that because I don't think that that program, your 2 centers are still going on in Los Angeles right now.
No, they aren't. Because I moved out of one place and I moved into the second one. So the first one ended and then I went to the second one, completely new group of people.
Jai. So yeah, so I think the first
Then
one
after
they
that,
are
I
still
left that.
following.
I moved into an apartment and I had a big warehouse. I moved into an apartment and we had programs there.
Oh,
So, but the question is, really, the word is guru. So if we can eliminate the word guru and consider, say, Prabhupada is the Acharya. If you can understand that Prabhupada can initiate people, then you'll be okay. You don't have to have a guru. The word guru is poisonous word.
mm. Yeah,
Well, isn't it?
sometimes. Yeah,
Look what they use
sometimes
it.
I think the best way to make a sustainable program is to borrow steel and just establish one temple first and then start preaching around that temple.
You can do it, but at the same time, can't you, like they used to say, can you walk and chew gum at the same time?
Very difficult.
So you can do that temple, but not as your main focus, as a step towards creating a nice shelter for sincere devotees to understand that the GBC are criminals and that Prabhupada is the Acharya for the next 10,000 years. If you create that, that's good. As far as a guru, you don't need one. If they want to become initiated, you can initiate them. Anybody who has a sacred thread, choice born, the Brahmin initiation, anyone who's taken the Dvija, he can perform a fire sacrifice and initiate anybody to be Prabhupada disciple.
Emmanuel,
have to be-
do you have any questions or any realizations you want to share?
yeah, I was
He's
hearing.
in his car.
Yeah, I'm
I
in.
guess he's come in his car.
Yeah, I have to be in my car because the temple. I don't think they'll like to talk us coming over here.
It's okay. Yeah, you're in America, so you're independent. So that's good. That's the benefit of being, living
I'm
here.
also-
So go ahead, ask away. Whatever you want to ask, whatever you want to say.
I was hearing Narayan Prabhu such great words on that matter of following along with Prabhupada's mission, but I believe that Prabhupada made clear instructions on how to do it. It's just that now we have to at least get a good amount of people up to speed.
So can you be more louder, Haribol? A bit
Hold on.
more louder, please.
This will be better. Hello? Is
Now
this
it's better. Yeah. Now
Yeah.
it's better. Bro.
Yeah. So what I was saying is I was hearing Narayan Prabhu, and his words very true when it comes to bringing back that system Srila Prabhupada wanted for a constant cycle of temples uh, being made with also initiators bringing new disciples to Prabhupada.
Yeah.
I just feel as though that the system is it can continue because I've seen how Iskcon is growing in China and over in other countries slowly. But just like in the book that you were showing me the last time, the 4 Varnashrams, uh, as soon as they have that system down, like it's done. They done that. They done something that the GBC has not done for how many years? Like several decades.
They've never done it, actually. And the GBC recently voted not to do Varnashram.
Correct.
There's
And
your money and power. The minute you have people living on a farm, you have no way to control them.
Yep. That's the aspect of what Prabhupada wanted. Even the aspect of having individual temples having their own individual identity, but yet working for the same movement.
Yes.
That-
Well,
that's
there's
what-
no harm. But in the end, we can see if these temples, let's say these temples, 50% will be very sincere, and maybe 50% will not be as sincere. That's just the way humans are, right? Maybe they'll all be sincere, but supposing there's some sincere, some not sincere, let's say mostly sincere. When we get the GBC out of Iskcon, then they can all take on the name of Iskcon and become aligned as a one world movement of chanting Hare Krishna. Iskcon simply means chanting the Hare Krishna mantra in the style, in the mood of Krishna Loka, which means listening to Prabhupada and chanting the way he does. It doesn't seem that's a lot to ask, but from people that are attached, so incredibly attached to their material bodies, their material culture, their former material religion, it seems impossible. They'll do anything except follow in the footsteps of the spiritual master. I mean, if you stop to look at it, which Iskcon temple is trying to follow Prabhupada's lotus footsteps? It states, if you have a spiritual master like Prabhupada, a pure devotee, you want to follow in his footsteps. He walked, I step where he stepped. That I will make rapid advancement that way. But if I just say, oh, he gave me the Hare Krishna mantra, now let me turn it into rock and roll, that doesn't work out at all.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah.
So,
Emmanuel, I forgot, which country are you from?
My family came from Haiti.
Oh,
You
that's
know.
right, you said Haiti, yeah.
Yeah, but I was born and raised here in America, in Florida, the hot,
Yeah.
the hot state with the very gray hair over there. But
In Florida? But you
yeah,
have
in Florida.
Governor DeSantis busy saving everybody from hell. Or trying to at least. Well, that's it. So you have that Haitian glow.
Yeah, we have a whole lot of Haitians over there.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Haitian and Hispanics. I do like the point where you state there's like gonna be like 50% people who are sincere and 50% not sincere. Okay, naturally. Even Prabhupada, he was dealing with some of that.
Well, a lot of that. He initiated
Yeah,
so many people left.
Yeah. But like in this sense, like Prabhupada, he was calculated. There was a pastime where when there was a recording of a kirtan sent to Srila Prabhupada, it sounded so wild, and Prabhupada heard it, and as well as other devotees, they did not like it because it doesn't sound like what it should be. It's like Hare Krishna with the hands up in the air. Like,
Yeah, yes, you got
sounded
it.
fast, like more energetic than it should. And then Prabhupada heard it, he liked it, only for the fact that they were chanting. Because in his mind, he was seeing how, as long as they're chanting, they're purifying themselves. And the next time that the devotees heard the chanting of the same San Francisco devotees, these are the New York devotees hearing the San Francisco devotees at this time, they heard them again and they just completely transformed, singing the same way as Prabhupada was singing. Completely just Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada, even though that there's a lot of flaws and mistakes in other people's, he saw that this mantra not only was purifying them, but it was like a time bomb. Even though that they have so many anarthas, it would just like blow up and then they would just have the same thing. Just like,
Oh, yeah. But the
He-
point is that you're chanting Prabhupada's melody, and they
Yes.
were chanting Prabhupada's melody. They can chant it well or badly. Of course, when you hear Prabhupada, and the best way to hear Prabhupada now is listen to a recording of him chanting. If you listen to a recording of Prabhupada chanting, he'll chant and the group will chant. So you listen to him chant as though you're sitting with Prabhupada and chant the way the group is chanting. And you'll see the group isn't necessarily chanting all that well, but it's certainly better than most temples for sure. Because it's like they're making a stab at trying to chant like Prabhupada. They're trying to make an effort. But the point is, I'm a perfectionist. From the point of view of making an effort, it's not that we want to make an effort. We want to reach perfection. It's not like we can accept a Prabhupada. What I think your point is, Prabhupada heard something that was not quite perfect, but he accepted it because it was sincere, right? Is that what
Yeah.
you were saying? Yeah.
He accepted it because it was sincere. I was
And
just
then you said that when it heard it again, it had become like Prabhupada, more so.
yes. They basically follow what Prabhupada did when it comes to kirtan. But my question is like, now everyone's singing and chanting the holy name as they want to, but they're not going to that level.
No.
Why?
Every time you refer to that level, I see your eyes go up, your mouth goes open. I can see you're in that level. You're approaching. Oh, you're not in that level. Okay, you're not in that level. You're approaching that level sincerely and experiencing that level to whatever degree you can. And that's all the best we can do.
Jai, Emmanuel Prabhu ki jai. Haribol.
Yeah, Manuel is an extraordinary jiva. He's got the heart. He's sincere. That's what makes him separate from pretty much everybody in the world.
Haribol.
Not you, but I mean, people are. People, you're sincere. Sincerity is everything. Because if you're sincere and you hear the truth, you'll say yes.
Yes, point.
Just like with someone, a very dear person's very dear to me, but they tend to get a little bit discouraged and down and feeling bad about themselves. And I said, when that happens, just look at the situation and say to Krishna, be the jiva saying to Krishna, I surrender.
Yes, sir.
I surrender. Now you may not feel that you've surrendered, but when you say I surrender, actually the surrender is there in the core of it, in the heart of it. Does that make sense at all?
Yes, sir. So I had a question. I had two questions, so I was just waiting for Emmanuel Prabhu to complete and then you answer it.
Oh, of course.
One question was,
Well, wait a second. You're talking to me. You should be saying this to Ramachandra, and then he figures out who he wants to speak.
Ramachandra
Go
Prabhu,
ahead.
can I ask a question, Prabhu?
Yes,
Yeah,
of
well,
course,
both.
of course, of course, of course.
Oh, no. Sure, Prabhu, right? Okay. Okay. So, Prabhu, I have a question on the Hitler part. What Prabhupada said about Hitler and there's various videos being made, right? How I mean, people say that he's told that Hitler was great and Hitler was sent for various things and all. So, can you just elaborate more on that if you've read it? Yeah.
Did I read what Prabhupada wrote? I
About
don't think-
Hitler, about the Hitler's way of.
Well, remember that from Prabhupada's cultural perspective, he is in India. And the British were the enemy, not the Germans. In fact, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Bengali gentleman, great general, very great intellectual, he went to the Germans and said, you have so many Indian army people, officers and soldiers, you're feeding them, they're in your war prison, not concentration camp, this is war prison. There's so many of them, give them to me, give me weapons, give me uniforms, and I will make them into a fighting force against the British. And they say, Netaji, you're part of the British Raj, you're part of the British situation there. If we give you these men, you'll just turn around and fight the Germans again. And what Netaji said was, you do not understand the Indian military. They hate the British far more than they could ever hate the Germans. If you give them a gun, they're not going to shoot Germans, they're going to shoot British. And so that's what the Germans did. Intelligently, they gave weapons and everything to Netaji. He was amassing a very nice army. When the British saw that there was an army coming, German army coming from the north, and the Indian army, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's Liberation Army, coming from the east, they said, we have to give up. We can't fight two wars. So they gave up. So Netaji won. So Prabhupada's perspective was not favorable of British and was far more favorable of Germans and not of Hitler. Now, the next thing to understand is I was raised in America. And of course, when you're at war with somebody, you say the most horrible things about them, right? So they said all sorts of horrible things about the Nazis. Now, the war is horrible. Right now, there's a war in the Ukraine, which is as horrible or more horrible than anything the Nazis did. But it's going on, and nobody seems ready to stop it, to give them proper weapons and everything to stop it. So when you go into that realm, take into account that the Germans were not as bad as they were said to be. And the Americans were not as wonderful as they said themselves to be. So, so that, again, to answer your question, Hitler had a vision, and his vision was to create a Reich. Reich means empire. He wanted a German empire. Frederick the Great had tried earlier, 100 years before, to create a German empire, and he lost that war. So Hitler was dreaming that he would like to restore that vision. And he wanted to get the Jews out of Germany because the Jews didn't have any allegiance to Germany. They were not allowed to marry Germans. They were not allowed to own land. They weren't allowed to do anything except have businesses, shopkeepers, and banking business, which the Catholic Church didn't allow. So they wanted to get the Jews, they wanted everything run by Germans. My opinion, a bad move, because the Jews knew how to do stuff, and the Germans didn't really know how to do modern education and modern manufacturing and stuff like that. They didn't know how, but that was Hitler's vision. So it wasn't an evil vision, it was just a very clear vision. But the Americans refused to let the Jews to come to America. And the Grand Mufti of Palestine refused to let the Jews come to Palestine or to Madagascar, where Hitler wanted to send them. So the end result was Hitler seemed to be a very bad guy, and he had bad guys, Himmler and Eichmann and people like that. They took a great pleasure in slaughtering Jews in concentration camps. Not just Jews, Gypsies, Catholics, so many people homosexuals, all types of people they killed. But,
So he used a swastika on his.
so that's
I
why
mean-
Prabhupada didn't have the same negative view for Hitler that an American would automatically have. I tried to answer your question.
Exactly. You were telling about history, but he used a swastika on his tanks and everything. So there are videos on people saying that Prabhupada supported him, and then that he was some avatar and certain things like this. I've heard it on YouTube and all. Yeah.
Oh, that is some nonsense, total nonsense.
That's nonsense.
Prabhupada
Right?
never supported. Do you know where the swastika came from?
Yeah.
Well, you
Tell me,
probably know where it came from. Why is there swastika in Europe?
Santana Dharma.
I didn't knew that.
Well,
Good question. Good
very,
answer.
very, very, very indirectly. But you've heard of Parsaram, right? The incarnation of Krishna that killed so many Kshatriyas. And the ones
Yeah.
he didn't kill fled India with the Brahmins, and they came to Europe, where they couldn't build castles or palaces or anything. They ended up making castles and stuff, but not on the scale of the Vedic Dharma. And they built all of that stuff, but they lacked the cultural background, but they had the religious background. They brought the swastika with them from India into Germany, into Europe. And who are the Brahmins that they brought? They became known, you'd heard of Druids? Druids in India, in Europe, that were the priestly class of the well, they were called the what were they called? The Samaritans, no, not Samaritans. I'm sorry, Rupa, do you remember what is the name of the Rupa?
Yeah,
What were the people from the Europeans called?
Druids.
The Druids, yeah. The Druids were the priests, the Brahmins. They were called Galatians, the Gauls. And I mean, in France, had a Charles de Gaulle and then there's in the Bible, there's Christian Bible, there's Galatians, which refers to an island of the Mediterranean or a coastal city in the Mediterranean. So this whole Gauls, they were leftover Kshatriyas from a long, long time ago. So that, where did Hitler first see a swastika? I happen to know. What's happening?
No, actually, Ramachandra Prabhu has left and he's given me the host. He had a call, Prabhu. He was busy since.
Oh, I see. Okay, got it. So well, you're here. That's what I'm talking to. Anyhow,
Yeah.
so at least we're here. So what happened? Hitler would go to school, and every day he'd come back to stay with his father and brothers. And his father was very brutal. He used to beat him horribly. But every day he came across up the road, there was a 20-foot high, maybe even 30-foot high circle in a big wall. There's a wall, and a circle appears in the wall. Part of the circle sticks up above the wall. Inside that circle was a swastika in Austria.
Acha. Haribol.
So it's not so that swastika, this is for the benefit of those neo-Nazis that are trying to shape themselves up in Iskcon. But it wasn't like that at all. It was this cultural symbol to make it even more interesting, if you will. For me, I'm a scholar, so it's interesting. But to go even further, you've heard of the Knights Templar. They had these white tunics with a red cross on the front and the back of the tunic.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. You've heard from the Crusades. There was another group of knights called the Teutonic Knights. You see, the Knights Templar belonged to the Pope, the papal knights. The Teutonic Knights also belonged to the Pope, and their tunic had a swastika on it. But it's less known because they disappeared much before the Knights Templar were destroyed. So the swastika was well established in Europe. All Hitler needed to do was read a little bit of German history and he would run across the swastika. So, and as far as Prabhupada and swastikas, Prabhupada had no connection with swastikas. I never saw him display a swastika. I used to own a valuable antique Chinese rug that had swastikas going all the way around the border of it. And Navajos has swastikas that they use in Native Americans. Chinese do swastikas. The swastikas are used all over the Middle East, and not as much in Germany as other places. So, and the swastika, and so Arjuna's chariot has swastikas on it, going around the edge of the chariot. If you look at the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna's chariot, you'll see swastikas going around the top of the chariot. So that's and what is the swastika? Mohit, do you know what the swastika is?
Yeah, bro, I know, but you can elaborate it more because you can elaborate properly.
So what is the swastika represent?
It's a symbol of the sun.
Yes. The swastika is the sun planet. So the four arms are like the swirling. If you spin it like a spinner, you'd see that it become like the sun, glittering as it spins. So why do the Kshatriyas have Arjuna's ancestry is from the sun planet? All the Kshatriyas that died in Kurukshetra, they had only one desire, and that is to go to the Surya Loka, Vivishwan. They want to be on the sun planet because it's a
They want to be a
planet.
demigod, right, bro? They want to go on a demigod's platform, yeah? Yeah, bro.
Because that's what they were supposed to do. In other words, they were very high-ranking Vedic people, but Kshatriyas are not Brahmins, and Brahmins are not residents of the sun planet. When the Kshatriya dies honorably in battle, he's promoted to the sun planet. It's not so much even that he wants to go, that's where he goes. That's what, if he dies dishonorably, of course, he has a different sort of bad birth afterwards. But if he's a noble Kshatriya, then yes, he goes to the sun planet. Right?
Got it, bro. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, just like Karna's father is Vivishwan, the sun god.
Son of God. He's got all the energies from sun only, no, bro? Karn.
I'm sorry?
Karn has got all the energies from sun only, no, bro? Karna.
Oh, yeah.
Kavach and everything was given by Karna. Arjuna was the son of Indra, right? Indra
Who?
used to like him a lot. Arjuna
Yes, he was the son of Indra.
He was loved by Indra. Indra used to be proud of my son is so great. He's always with Krishna and he's fighting. So he was always they are pastimes of Indra also. Being very proud of Arjuna. Yeah.
But even Indra could not stop one of Indra's girlfriends from cursing Arjuna.
Exactly, yeah, bro. But Prabhu, Arjuna, we can take an example of Arjuna. Like, you can't touch Arjuna because he's a devotee of Lord Krishna. So if Krishna is beside you, no one can do anything to you, man.
No.
That's the
But
point.
what about these Pandavas? They were going into the house of Lok, and Vidura warned them that is a trap. They're going to burn it up. So they went through and they went out the back door, and then the house burned up.
That's all Krishna's mercy, right?
They're devotees. How could devotees be put into such a situation?
Devotees are always put in that situation, Prabhu. That's
So the
devotee life,
Krishna,
Prabhu. That
exactly.
Krishna put,
Queen, Ku-
yeah, bro. That's Krishna's
Queen,
Maya. I mean, Krishna's play with you. He's just seeing how much you were trustworthy to him, right? He sees
only
your
if you're a
trust.
pure devotee. If you're not a
Yeah,
pure devotee, he lets you make advancement. But if you're a pure devotee, he can put you through the ringer. And what Queen
yeah,
Kunti said, because look at what happened to the Pandavas. They were kings. They were the rightful owners of Bharat's parcel. But they had to hide out. They had to escape. They had to, and Queen Kunti, one time they were in difficulty and Krishna came and rescued them again. And
yeah,
Queen
yeah.
Kunti said, my dear Lord Krishna, this is in the Bhagavat, my dear Lord Krishna, I pray that you will put us into difficulty again and
So that I
again.
can remember you. So that I can remember
Simply
you all
will,
my life.
so I will see your smiling face again and again.
So her prayers are like, put me in problems whenever I'm there. Put me in
Yeah,
problems because I want to remember you all my life. Because we are so
but
conditioned,
more than remember, to see
Hmm.
your smiling face.
Haribol Jai.
In other words, can you imagine if you got into a car wreck and you got out of the car and you're injured and you look up and there's Krishna standing there smiling at you?
Haribol. Everything is done there. Everything
Yeah,
is gone. We
yeah,
have
exactly.
successfully lived our life,
So
bro.
it's not like
Haribol.
you remember him or anything. It's not abstract. When Krishna appeared in front of Kunti, he was there. She's a pure devotee, Uttama Adhikari.
Acha.
Therefore, Krishna will appear to this pure devotees. He will not appear to me or to maybe to you, but not to me. He will not
Not to
appear.
me at all, bro. Not to me at all. But I would love
No.
those car accidents if I get. But if Krishna comes, that's the wonderful thing of my life, bro. Haribol.
Yes, because he comes, you're in trouble, hurt, injured, in danger. Then he comes and rescues you.
I can be injured 1,000 times for him, bro. 1,000, 100,
Yes.
lakh times.
So,
Haribol.
so that's a motive. Now you can look forward to becoming a pure devotee, not so that you'll go to Godhead and escape from this horrible world. Not like that. Simply
Yeah.
so you will see Krishna's smiling face again and again.
That's enough.
That's why
enough.
that's why to become a devotee, not to
Hari.
become an escape artist from material energy.
Yeah, bro.
That's a shameful thing to want to do.
Yeah,
You
bro.
want to leave because if you want to escape from the material world, guess what? You want Krishna to be your servant.
Exactly. Yeah, bro.
Get me out of here, sir. Krishna, you're all powerful. Get me the hell out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. And you
So
better
how
do it
can we,
quickly because I don't.
bro, how
I'm
can we
gonna
say
live
that
in
prayer?
this body forever. Huh?
Yeah. How can we say that to him? Because we have only fought, right, for this material world. We were like the mad souls for this material world, right? We fought
But
for
I
him,
don't.
fought for this.
I don't really understand what you're saying.
So, bro, I'm saying that we fought for this material world, right? We were up
We,
with him. We were like the most bad sons.
you said something about we fought in this material world.
I mean, we fought for this material world. No, we wanted to be in this material world. We wanted to lord over,
No, we
right?
didn't have to fight for it. All we had to do is desire to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Look at your Mohit body. Mohit, you have a nice body, healthy, young,
Yeah.
affluent. So there you are. You're in perfect situation. He said, "This is good. This is what I want for me." But then when
Exactly.
you become 95 years old, you say, "It's not as much fun as it used to be. I want something better than this for me. But I'm too old to do it." So that's why we want to become devotees at the early age, so that when we become 90 years old, we're already transcendentally situated.
Haribol, Jai.
It's the body, desire for what the body wants, that is the bondage of material life.
Exactly, bro. So, guys, anyone has any doubts, issues, you guys can ask. Rupa Manjari Mataji, Vinayak Prabhu, Emmanuel Prabhu. Guys, go ahead. Please ask any questions, any doubts on anything.
Haribol.
or realizations.
Any realizations? Vinayak Prabhu? Emmanuel Prabhu? Anything? Wanted to ask any realizations? Please go ahead. Yeah.
There is this one devotee who threw a question to me relating to how was it? There's a actually, yeah. You was saying that there are some videos on certain Ripik website YouTube channels. I think they're infiltrated by what is it? The neo Nazis, I believe. They're
Oh,
trying to,
really?
yeah, I think they're pushing that philosophy through the guise of ISKM, and
What is ISKM? What does it mean?
that is International Society Krishna Mandir.
Oh,
Yeah.
and who is running it?
Sundar Gopal.
Prabhu, are
I
you
see.
talking about Iskcon Bangalore and the Ritvik which we
Yeah, yes,
which they follow? Are you talking about that?
yeah, but like these are devotees who are not really associated with them, but they're using the name of Ritik, to push
So,
yeah.
so Prabhu, what I can understand from Emmanuel Prabhu, he wants you to ask, I mean, he's asking a question to you that there was a devotee who was a mainframe Iskcon devotee. He came up against the Ritvik theory, which Iskcon Bangalore follows, which Akshay Patra follows, and which Hare
no,
Krishna movement
like
follows.
he wasn't
So,
saying that it's on Bangalore follows, but he was saying like, why are people who are on this Ritik path promoting neo Nazis and all that?
so he wants to understand your perspective, Nanayam Prabhu, that how could I answer that devotee and how is it wrong and how is Iskcon Bangalore working and everything. He wants to ask that question, right? Is it great to be in Akshay Patra and whatever scenarios?
First of all, I don't really like the word Ritvik. We went over that, didn't we, in this class tonight?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, I don't like the word Ritvik. Prabhupada used the word officiating acharya.
Yes.
Ritvik was created by Tamal. I'm not a disciple of Tamal. I'm not a servant of Tamal. He murdered, he gave poison to Srila Prabhupada. Why should I use his language? I don't like to use his language. He got the language from Narayan Maharaj, who also was part of the conspiracy to poison Prabhupada. So as far as the neo-Nazi, I mean, Nazi is a material designation. Nazi in German means national.
Yep.
And Hitler made National Socialism. He started out as a socialist organization, and then he changed it to a Nazi socialist organization. Because there were so many, after the First World War, there were huge groups all over Germany that had become members of the Communist Party and also Socialist Party. And Hitler was tapping into their dissatisfaction. And he wanted to, he wanted to get members from them for his organization. But then when he got to be chancellor, he changed from socialism to National Socialism, which was Nazi. So this was all just movements, it was karma in working. Just like we're now in the middle of a Ukrainian war, that's a horrible karmic event right now. So Hitler produced his own horrific things. If he had done really well, he wouldn't have been defeated. But he didn't understand a lot of things. And the British outsmarted him by getting the Americans on board. The Americans had no reason to go against Hitler. In fact, Henry Ford had factories in Germany, and during the war, Second World War, they were making Ford trucks in Nazi Germany that were used by the Nazis. And then after the end of the war, the Germans paid Ford commissions for the trucks that they used. And then when the Germans took over France, there was another Ford factory in France, Henry Ford. Henry Ford was pro-Nazi like anything. And so took over France. So they had two factories making Ford trucks. Now there were, at the time I was growing up, I was born in 1943. So I was watching in the movie theater as a child, American soldiers driving by, German soldiers driving by like that in the news. It's like news, but we didn't have news like that. It was just movies in the theaters. And in those movies, they had to be so careful not to show the Germans driving Ford trucks. So they had to be very selective because everybody knew that Ford was selling them trucks, even during the war.
Okay, we have 2 minutes left to go.
Okay. So Emmanuel, you said that the Emmanuel means God is with us?
Yeah, that's what it means.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Really, yeah, thank you for the answer. I was pertaining to some of the propaganda that was used, trying to push neo-Nazi through the guise of
Go ahead.
through the guise of the officiating our chariots, what Prabhupada wanted, but like they're just pushing their own agenda and everything.
No, Prabhupada had nothing to do with Nazis.
Yeah.
Actually, when he created the farm communities, the idea, the Dharma Ashram, independent farm communities, where we have Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, a pyramid-shaped society, and everyone is working closely together without any distinction. Everyone is initiated devotees. There's no class distinction amongst Shudras or anyone. There's just different skill levels and types of skill. He said that was spiritual communism. Because Karl Marx created communism, but communism, the definition, not Russia, that never went communist, it was just a total dictatorial mess. But when Karl Marx made communism, he said, from each according to his ability, to each according to his need. And Karl Marx got that from reading the Vedas, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. From each according to his ability, to each of them. So that means that you go and work communally, you do your hardest work, and when it comes time to eat, if you have a big appetite, you eat more. If you have a small appetite, you eat less. But it's not that you get more and then hoard it in your place and then sell it to other people. Nothing like that. It's all communal under the control of the Brahmins.
Okay, time.
Okay, so is Ramachandra still off?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, I don't think we have any way of leaving the session without Ramachandra ending it, right?
We can all leave.
We can individually sign out, I suppose.
Mohit can sign
But
out.
next time you come on, and I
sorry.
hope, Emmanuel Prabhu, the next time you can, Emmanuel, the next time you come on, try to give us more data on these Nazis and the so-called officiating Acharya programs.
Yeah, it's just like a friend saying on YouTube. But yeah.
Got it.
Isn't it interesting that officiating Acharya sounds far less toxic and aggressive than Ritvik?
Yeah.
So
And on top of it, Ritvik is a very popular name for the firstborn son of Muslims. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Ritvik is very rarefied. It belonged to the Vedic culture. It's not something that goes on in today's world. But officiating Acharya, Prabhupada created that term.
We are running out of time, Prabhu, but if you guys want to go ahead with the meeting, no issues, we can record it and we can go ahead. Vinayak Prabhu, you have no issues with the timing, right? Haribol?
Thank you for the meeting.
Vinayak Prabhu, Haribol.
You can stay or
there?
not stay. We're contemplating staying on a little bit.
Yeah,
It's up to
Prabhu.
you.
Vinayak
Mohit,
Prabhu,
would you
it's
like
up
to
to me.
stay
I
on?
am okay with the timings, Prabhu. I am like loving the transcendental exchanges between you guys. So, Haribol. Vinayak Prabhu, you have no issues, right? If you have any issues, you can leave. We are continuing the meeting for around 15-20 minutes more. Yeah? Go ahead, Prabhu. Go ahead, Prabhu. Go ahead. You can discuss anything, right? Rupa Manjari Mataji has left, so we guys have all time. We can go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, Prabhu. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, that was really about it because most of these guys, they're what is it, trying to use Prabhupada's words to justify oh, black people are like low class and everything.
He was,
But
that's
my
what they're trying to say.
realization, yeah, they're trying to, yeah, these people, they're trying to like use Prabhupada's words to justify it, like demonizing Jews and everything
Well,
like
is
that.
it just black people, but also other races too?
Black people and Jews. Other races, I'm not too sure, but they're very, very French, and they don't really have much traction over there. But my understanding, well, not my understanding, but what Prabhupada displayed when it came to looking upon low class men and sometimes referring to black men. I had a realization that he's just looking at a low class man like any doctor who is going to heal him. And just like in the SSR, he was visited the African countries, like the Americans or Europeans. Try to advance yourself spiritually.
Yeah.
Prabhupada, you wanted to help low
Well,
class
the point is, no matter you say white man, black man, or Jewish man, what about a deer or a cow or a blade of grass?
Yes.
I mean, you could say, oh, blade of grass, I am superior. The blade of grass is inferior. Or I could say a turkey. A turkey is just an ordinary bird. It doesn't speak English. But I am a human being. I'm superior. But we're not. Because anything that wiggles, anything that can move, anything that has any element of life in it, including plants and some rocks even, is a jiva. And a jiva is not just a living being. He is a living being because he's part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what do we say? The man in a black body or a goat body or a Brahmin body or in an Italian body, how can we say that one is superior or not superior just based upon realization, if you want? But even so, a devotee will never consider themselves superior to another person, even if he has more knowledge. In a sense, the more realization you have, the more you're going to put yourself at the feet of someone maybe others consider inferior. But I ask you to, you're part of Krishna. You're part and parcel of Krishna. Where's the question of inferior?
Yep.
Does Krishna have then you have to go to Krishna himself and say, my dear Lord Krishna, can you show me where are your superior parts? Where are your inferior parts? That's insane, isn't it? Krishna doesn't have inferior parts.
Mm. And that goes to show like how these people who are propagating inferior and superior, they just miss the building block of like you're not the body, your soul, and
Ah,
uh, and a brahmana, a learned brahmana, learned keyword, sees a cow, an elephant, a dog eater, a brahmana with equal vision because he sees the soul within each and every one,
yes,
and that literally just tears him down, and that is
yes.
just a basic building block.
Yeah,
And
basic. You can't even get initiated if that's what you think, because you're not recognizing Aham Brahmasmi. Iskcon is like, you know, the Kanista, Madhyam, Uttamadhikari designations?
yeah,
No?
yeah,
You do know. Okay,
yeah.
so Kanista Adhikari is Brahman. Madhyamadhikari is Paramatma, and Uttamadhikari is Bhagavan. Bhagavan is Krishna in his own pastimes in Krishna Loka and his Swarup. That's where Prabhupada came from. The Madhyamadhikari, Paramatma, that's how you get to the level from Kanista, from Brahman realization, you get to the Paramatma realization, and you're guided to Krishna in that status as a Madhyamadhikari. Prabhupada doesn't describe it in any great detail, but that's the way that he describes it to me in great detail. And then there's the Kanista Adhikari. Okay, the Kanista Adhikari is pure spirit soul, and he is protected from falling down to the animal kingdom in his next birth, or vegetable kingdom, or insect kingdom, by chanting Hare Krishna, by taking prasadam, by following the four regulated principles. All of those things empower the jiva to separate himself from the material energy, but it's a gradual process. So the Kanista is the beginning of the process of deliverance. I think I was trying to answer a question of yours. I don't know if I ended up off track or not.
My question was pertaining to debunking some of the people who are trying to. I know you don't like the word, but who try to invoke a neo-Nazi through the name of Ripvik, but actually officiating Arcarius, and they can't even pass the test because they can't.
The point is that the officiating Acharya or Ritvik, if you will, or they will, there is a person who connects the jiva to Prabhupada.
Yeah.
And Prabhupada did not make distinctions, obviously, based on race, creed, class, caste, wealth. He didn't distinguish according to the cultural divisions that we experience in the world today. He just saw everyone, either they're attracted to Krishna or they're not. If they're attracted to Krishna, they'll chant Hare Krishna. If they chant Hare Krishna, even the people that are not attracted to Krishna will become attracted to Krishna by chanting. That's all. That's all Iskcon is. Chanting, hearing, Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing and chanting. So Shravana means what the spiritual master does and the way he does it. Kirtanam means to follow in his footsteps when you do it. Not to make up melodies, not to make up rituals, not to make up Nazis. Can't be done.
Nope.
And if they say that Prabhupada said favorable things about Hitler, that doesn't matter. Culturally, he was from the British, the Indians that hated the British and had no argument with the Germans. They really didn't. They had no knowledge of or argument with the Germans. When it comes to, so that's all it is. So Prabhupada was not pro-Hitler. He was not pro any karmi. Why would they be pro-Nazi if Prabhupada was not pro-Nazi?
Mm-hmm.
If Prabhupada said Hitler was different than they was portrayed, obviously everyone is. You are, and I have both. If people describe you or describe me, and you hear what they say, they're saying, where did they get that? I'm not really like that, I don't think. But he saw me like that. Or he assumed, or his past memory says, oh, he's like that because he's like that. He comes up with a cliche in the brain. But that's not the reality. Reality is who you actually are. And you say, oh, who you actually are. Oh, I mean, according to your body? Well, yes, but how about going further? To the mind. Oh, to mind. Oh, yeah. But what about going further? To the soul. Aham Brahmasmi means I'm not this body, regardless of shape, size, gender, color, species. It doesn't matter what species I am, I'm still spirit soul.
Correct.
And think of all the people, I'm quite convinced that the people that are walking dogs all over the place, I'm sure where you live, they walk dogs on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
It amuses me because they walk the dog and then they groom the dog. They take the dog to the vet. They take the dog to have its teeth cleaned. They do everything for the dog as though the dog were a deity, right? Practically. And then when the dog poops on the lawn, they take a plastic bag and pick up the poop and put it, the women, they put it in their very expensive Gucci purses. So it's amazing. So my conclusion from that is, what will the dog walker be in his next life?
A dog.
Of course, he gives as much devotion. He gives more devotion to his dog than most devotees give to Krishna. I don't want to say bad about devotees, but I mean, devotees can be very superficial and talk a lot of prajalpa. But the dog, they are devoted as though the dog is God, And there's in America, as you may have encountered yourself, they say that a lot of times people are more fond of their dogs than they are of their children. So then if you become a dog walker, dog in your next life, say, but there's a drawback. When if you become a dog, they cut your gonads off. They castrate you. Yeah, that's not so good. I mean, if you're a human, who wants to take a birth and be castrated as a dog? That's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it, once the dog is castrated, he doesn't know what he's missing. That's why they castrate him, so he won't know what he's missing. But if he's a female dog, he doesn't care. When he sees another dog, he doesn't get aggressive. So as far as he's concerned, he came out ahead. As long as he doesn't miss reproducing. And he's being a dog, so how can he risk reproducing? What does a castrated dog know about reproducing? So you see, they become a dog. And then what? Well, maybe they hear a kirtan and they become a human again. But if we deprive them of kirtan, how could they become a human? That's the whole point.
Thank you. Thank you, Narayan.
You know what Prabhupada said when he was in Vrindavan? It was a pretty miserable place when he was there. And he said, I'm trying to remember exactly what he said. He said, you are here, so many unhappy men. He said there was initiated disciples who were pretty unhappy. He said, you're here in Vrindavan, so many unhappy men. And then he said, so go, and by chanting and introducing to Krishna consciousness, make other unhappy men happy.
Mm. Mm.
In other words, you may be unhappy as a devotee, but if you give someone Krishna consciousness, they will become happy. And so will the unhappy devotee become happy when he gets over being unhappy.
Mm. Would that be one of the reasons they totally failed, other than disobeying Srila Prabhupada's orders, preaching sincerely to others, not only by words but by actions?
Well, you're getting to a complicated territory, really, because the people that disobeyed for real were the 12 GBCs that Prabhupada said should be elected every 3 years from temple presidents, and that the temples will be individually incorporated. That means each temple president is sort of the king of his own temple. The GBC is a temple president that's been elected. It's sort of like the United States Senate. They become like senators. Senators that are elected every 4 years, GBC every 3. Renewable, most cases. So that's where it went off the rails. 12 people took it off the rails with the support of a lot of other ambitious people that wanted to be big shots and big shots and big shots, Sankirtan leaders, temple presidents, etc., etc. They wanted to be in charge of things. And they didn't care what they did to get there. So when the 12 GBCs were there, they refused to be elected. They refused Prabhupada's direct written order. Now, if we believe that Prabhupada is Krishna's representative or transparent by medium, can there be anything more horrible than disobeying the direct written order of Krishna's sends his representative to earth and you refuse to follow what he says?
Yeah,
You see
not
what I
at
mean?
all. Yeah.
So
That's an offense.
That's where that
That's a
came
direct
from.
offense you're doing it to Prabhupada. Yeah.
So now everybody's in that bag because they've been kidnapped by the GBC. The GBC is based on offenses against Prabhupada. So they say, never mind Prabhupada, we have our own gurus. We appoint gurus. That's ridiculous. You can't appoint a guru. It just can't be done. So Mohit, what do you want to say?
Nothing, Prabhu. I just wanted to come in between. Emmanuel Prabhu,
Yeah.
if you want to become a guru, you can become a guru. Go. Have knowledge and become a guru.
They have like a disciple. They have a disciples course, huh? They have a disciple course over here. So literally, they have you take a test, and then like after you take the test, oh, yep, we can recommend you to a guru. So you
Just
can only
breaking the ice
imagine what.
out of the sensitive. Just breaking an ice. It's just a joke, Prabhu. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. But think how much simpler it would be if that damn GBC were not there, or that they were elected actually, and the present GBC were arrested and put in jail, if it were possible. Wouldn't it be interesting when you come, instead of saying, we'll direct you to a guru, we'll direct you to Prabhupada. He's your guru. Why do we have to get stuck with this Nazi-like idea of a guru being the guy in charge, controlling every minute of your life?
Everyone who is in Iskcon, they need to take this disciples course sooner or later, and then take up one of those Joe Biden type gurus.
Yeah.
Prabhu,
Well,
I know only one guru which is right. That is Ramachandra Prabhu. He's the chairman and he's the officiating guru for the next 10,000 years, and I'm scared of him. Just be aware of what he says.
We don't want Joe Biden as our guru, So it's better not to take Joe Biden as your guru. Take Prabhupada as your guru.
Yeah.
Jokes apart, Srila Prabhupada is the officiating Acharya for the next 10,000 and years to go. You can't interfere in that. That's a sure thing.
Yes.
If someone
And that
is
answers your
interfering, he's
question.
offending Prabhupada. Simple as that. That's the simple answer.
Thank you. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, Emmanuel Prabhu,
Yeah.
I know you're kind of new here. We have discussed these things over and over. So as you participate in the Zoom meetings, you will see, and your understanding will get more and more clear. So keep participating, ask the right questions. You can contact me, Narayan Prabhu, anytime you like, and then ask us. Okay,
The thing which impresses me about Emmanuel is he gives the right answers.
yeah. So
Because he's being guided by Prabhupada. He's reading Prabhupada's book.
Yeah, I got the
Being
cheat
guided,
sheet of
bro. Read
Prabhupada's
more and
book.
more and you'll be guided. Yeah.
What did you say?
I got
Sorry,
the
sorry,
cheat
sorry.
sheet. I got the cheat sheet. Like Mohit said, like, I have the cheat sheet of like reading Prabhupada's book.
Excellent. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. That's the way to
By
do
the
it.
way, Emmanuel Prabhu, I would like to tell you something, maybe it will make you happy. If you were here in 1972 or 73 or 69 and you met Srila Prabhupada, he would like you a lot.
Haribol! Yeah.
Oh,
Hurry.
And he would like Mohit a lot too.
Hari Haribol. Haribol. Thank you very much for that, bro. If I would have been born up there, I would have been a Grahastha devotee, that's for sure, bro. That's
Maybe you were.
100%
Hare
sure.
Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada's, Prabhupada's aura, Prabhupada's everything is so, so pure. Because if you sit there, you'll forget everything. You'll just chant the Harinam and just relish pastimes. It's so,
When Prabhupada spoke, he spoke into the heart of everyone that was in the room. So when he would speak, you swear he was speaking to you.
Exactly.
And everybody got next to you also thinking the same thing. When they became ambitious, they lost the interest in whether Prabhupada was speaking to them. They just want to know what Prabhupada would award them the power to do. But in the beginning, when a sincere devotee, like Saradya, her poem, "Our tears falling like rain, come back to see you again. We have come to meet, bow down at your lotus feet." Oh, to hear your nectarine words, praise of the Supreme Lord, your presence like morning dew, you're covered with golden hue, so long waited for this time, that again could bathe in your shine. Still, the whole truth is not in meeting, but in separation. That's your teaching. This is actually more sweet than touching your lotus feet, because that is our life's perfection, feeling love for you in separation.
Jai Prabhupada.
Jai. Jai.
All goes to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
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 So Emmanuel Prabhu, did you hear the poem?
That was the most beautiful poem. Like, I hear that you can make the poems, and I hear that there are devotees who make poems, but like seeing this personally, like it's just so nice.
You know, you were touched, moved, and inspired by the poem. But who wrote the poem?
It looks like Sari and Daya Dasi.
Yes. Saradi, yes. But the thing is,
This is her right here.
Whoa.
Oh, yes. And do you know how old she was when she wrote the poem?
He was 15 years old, Prabhu.
I was
15
asking.
years, right?
17.
Yeah, but I was asking. I was
17.
leading on Emmanuel. I just went because it sounds like it might have been written by a very mature person, no? Emmanuel?
Really, maturity, I'm still trying to get, especially in my spiritual life. Really.
Beautifully put. Beautifully put. Yeah, it was written by a teenage girl, a young teenage girl,
Wow.
a girl who had not graduated from high school yet.
That's Prabhupada's mercy, bro. That's a pure devotee's mercy on her. She
Yeah.
would be praying for this, and Prabhupada gave her the service, and Prabhupada blessed her.
Mm.
That's the power of
Yes.
Prabhupada.
So that's why you need not worry, Emmanuel. Whatever you do, Prabhupada is watching you.
Hari Hari
Prabhupada is
Om.
sensing.
Yeah.
If you are experiencing bhakti, Prabhupada is engineering the bhakti that you're experiencing.
And one more thing, Prabhu. Emmanuel Prabhu.
Your work is there. Yeah.
Prabhupada knows your past, present, and future, Prabhu. He knows everything what's going on in your past life. So, I mean, he can change it anytime. If he feels like you're going towards Krishna, he can change it every time. Anytime he can change your karma also, Prabhu. He's a pure devotee. He can just pray to Krishna and your karma will change.
But
If you want
for
to
your,
go towards
for your karma to change, you have to relinquish the object of desire.
Yeah.
Or the object of fear. So if you say, I want to have lots of money, well, you desire money. But if you give up that desire for money, then you can have a pure desire in its place.
But if you can use it for Krishna, why not, bro? Take it, bro.
Oh,
Use it
no,
for
no,
Krishna
there's a
consciousness, yeah.
difference. It's not that I get money for Krishna. I get money that's Krishna's. I don't get involved with the money. Prabhupada never got involved. He got very big bunches of money. It was never his. He never even thought of it as his. He never needed it to be his. He never said, oh, this is my part and that's his part. This is my part, that's their part. Never.
So the prayer can be like that. Please let me use the. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Please let me use your money. So, Prabhupada, I mean, we can pray like this, like, please let me use your money for your service. At least through me, allow me to do that service. This prayer we can say.
Or you could just say, I want to do this service and somehow money comes.
Haribol Jai.
You don't have to own the money or touch the money or hold the money.
Yeah.
I want to do this service. Well, that's what Prabhupada did. He said, I want to open temples. He opened the temple. How? It doesn't matter how. People came and donated money. They did this, they did that. There was good luck, good landlord. You can think of all the reasons, but the main reason is he desired it. And Krishna created the opportunity for him. So it's Krishna, it's not Prabhupada has money. It's not that I have money. Krishna has money or wealth, real wealth. So because Krishna has wealth, if you want to build a temple, you have no idea how, he won't just come in with a truck, with a wheelbarrow full of gold. You'll try, you struggle, you do this, you have a headache, you go crazy, you're desperate, you don't know what to do, and somehow somebody makes it possible. People make it possible, and Krishna makes it possible. You don't have to know why. You don't even have to know who gave the money. All you know is that the temple became a reality. That's the point. You don't keep score like the Hindus, he gave that many thousand, he gave that many thousand. So that gives him a position in the temple which the other guy doesn't have. No reason like that. It's just that we depend on Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. So why should I say I gave money? How can I give money if it doesn't belong to me to begin with? That's it. I'm a thief. I stole the money. Now I'm giving it back. That's what it boils down to.
That's funny when you spoke about fear briefly. That what would keep me from progressing? Because just recently I was offered a place at the temple, which is following what Prabhupada ordered. It's gonna be in Texas, so I'm gonna get some good association over there.
Yeah, nice. But don't expect it's going to be 100% okay. They've got all sorts of illusions too. We have to sort it out until Prabhupada is the only Acharya or Guru of Iskcon. And Iskcon and the temple, the GBCs have to be elected. So if you get 10 temples, then you can have GBC. That's elected by the temple presidents. And what they do, they don't control the temples, they help the temples, they serve the temples. Supposing that your guy gets an apartment, declares it to be Iskcon by incorporating it, but he doesn't know what to do next. I actually did that in Detroit. I came into a house where they wanted to make a temple. It was just a very nice three-story house, 74 Forest Avenue in Detroit. And I came up the stairs and I saw there's a box against the wall, cardboard box, with a piece of cloth on it, and a picture of Krishna and a picture of Prabhupada, and some incense holder, so offered prasad. That's all they had. They were wearing karmi clothes. They didn't even wear dhotis and kurtas. They were going to be going to medical school. And so I came in there. In about a month, I had carved Jagannath deities. You know, the Jagannath deities? I carved a set of big, like 2.5 feet high Jagannath deities. Built an altar, built a Vyasasan, built an altar for Radha and Krishna. When they didn't have Radha and Krishna, I made an altar just in case they got a Radha and Krishna. We painted the inside with devotee supportive energy colors. I took them out on Sankirtan and taught them how to chant in the streets. And I went to the Indian stores and bought the Arctic articles that happened by some miracle to be there, ghee lamps and all those things. I got it and I showed them how to use it. Then they ordered dhotis and kurtas and saris. In those days, you just wore yardage from the store. You got a certain amount of yardage of saffron, a certain amount of yardage white, and the girls got decorated, printed cloth that they wore like a sari. It was a few years later, I began bringing back saris from India, from Jaipur. Well, actually not from Jaipur, but Jaipur saris. I brought them.
You were in Jaipur? Prabhu, you were in Jaipur. Haribol.
Many times.
Prabhu, come to Jaipur, I'm waiting. Come to Jaipur, I'm waiting for you to serve you, Prabhu. Please.
Oh, no, Jaipur is my favorite city.
Hari Bol. It's Gupt
And
Vrindavan.
you know the Vyasasan that I built in Los Angeles for Prabhupada?
It's from Jaipur.
Did you see? You know where it is from?
I'm just asking you, giving a
From
guess.
inside the city palace.
Hari
The king,
Bol.
I think Man Singh. He had a howdah actually, but when you put the howdah on the floor, it's like a throne.
So Manuel bro, he's saying this ki Man Singh is a king of Rajasthan. He was a king before we get into democratics and all. No, so no how Republicans and Americans work, right? So now India is a republic country. Before that, it was kings and all. So Prabhu is trying to say that this Vyasasan was given by the king of
Not exactly.
Jaipur, Rajasthan.
He was not given. He was just there. A devotee named Shama Sundar showed me a picture from 150 years ago in a book that was done with a metal printing, just black and white. And he said, someday we should make like that for Prabhupada. So I didn't, I saw the picture, I have a photographic memory, so I used that image in my mind, and I built a Vyasasan in Los Angeles in 1969. Well, back in 1975, I went to Jaipur, and I went to the city palace. Well, of course, I had darshan of the Govinda deity first, but then I went to the city palace, went to the whole city palace. I saw so many wonderful things that I had, that stimulated by, because I'm an art restorer, and art director, okay. So anyway, I went through all of that stuff and it came out, and I came down to another room. After I went through the whole palace, I came down to a room which was so magnificent, it was gorgeous. And it had a very weird part to it. Did I ever tell you the story before, Mohit?
Yeah, bro, you
If-
can repeat it again. It's like pleasure for me, right?
Yeah, okay.
Transcendental pleasure coming from you. Go
I
ahead,
stood
go ahead.
there and I looked at the room, and the room was the most strange room for a palace. It had three beautiful painted, decorated walls to the ceiling, chandeliers, everything gorgeous. And one wall was missing. One wall was completely missing. And so I came up to that wall, you know, I'm a designer, architect, I've built so many buildings. I came up and looked across through the empty wall, and there was a long pond. It was, you know, long and skinny, like they have in Washington, D.C. and in Buckingham Palace. There's a long stream with plants on either side. And I looked up, and there I was staring face to face with Radha Govinda, the deity. That amazed me. So I saw the face of Radha Govinda, the deities. I hadn't seen it before because the temple had doors, and the doors all closed. The temple was just a little cube in the 4 o'clock in the morning. But then it was open at the end, and the deities were looking straight into that room. And then I said, I wonder what is about this room? I turned believe it or not, I had not seen this. This is Krishna's amazing grace. I turned my head and I saw that howdah made from hammered silver designs with an umbrella on top, with little railings on the side. You know what those railings are for? That when you have a railing and it goes forward and then to the side, is to keep out evil energy. And it had Shingasan, so it had lion feet. And I looked at it and I nearly fainted because that was 3D alive. The howdah that was in the picture that had been made in 1780 or something like that by the British. And that's what Shamasundar said, I should make a Vyasa-san like that. And I did, not realizing it was the throne of Man Singh.
Haribo.
Horrible. So I was nearly dumbfounded. So then it flashed back to when I made the Vyasa-san. I was standing on Prabhupada's right-hand side, and he's sitting on the Vyasa-san. So he's sitting with his head maybe 8 inches lower than mine. And I'm standing, he's sitting. And the Vyasa-san is up, but it still puts him lower because he's sitting. And he sits on the Vyasa-san. And he said, I cannot accept this, he said. I cannot accept this. And I was going to kill myself. Prabhupada, he says, he cannot accept it. It means I've failed. It means I've committed an offense. I don't deserve to live. That's the way we thought back then. And I looked at Prabhupada and I was heartbroken. And he said, I cannot sit on this because it is a throne for a king. And he sat there and tears began to stream out of his eyes, shoot out of his eyes. And he said, but for the sake of my Guru Maharaj, I will accept it. Then I nearly fainted for the other reason that he accepted it. But he said a throne for a king. I could see that looks sort of like my limited experience of English thrones and stuff. It's okay. And they copied it from the Indians, of course. And so it wasn't until I was in Jaipur and I saw that howdah, you put on an elephant, or you can put it on the ground. You put it on the ground, it's a throne. You put it on the elephant and you ride on the elephant. And the mahout has a hook spike in his hand. Ankh, it's called an ankh, and he uses that to guide the elephant. So what happened is that it just clicked for me. And then another thing clicked for me. This is Jaipur. This is the Govinda deities of Rupa Goswami. What are the chances that Prabhupada had not stood in that same room next to that same throne and seen the deity from where I was seeing? I said, this is amazing. That's why he said it's a throne for a king, because he recognized it. even though I never told him, never asked permission to make it like that. Never discussed it again with Shama Sundar, just that one time, 3 minutes before he went to England to do the Qatar Hare Krishna record with George Harrison and the Beatles. So that's the story. And that's the sort of pastime you see the way I talked, the way I described, that's the way to regard Prabhupada. And you can do that too.
Hari, 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 Hari bol. We need your blessing.
It's not limited to me. And Emmanuel, this is not me. You both are very highly intelligent, highly sensitive, spiritually advanced, so much so that I'm your servant, your eternal servant.
All right.
I am, because you're part and parcel of Krishna. God only knows what I am. But the thing is that is the way we can talk about Prabhupada in glorification without the GBC. And if the gurus for GBC, all they want is you to kiss their feet, drink the water from the washing the feet. They want to give them a garland. They want to give you a flower. And then you're supposed to adore them. And
let's not
what?
talk.
What
So let's not talk about GBC now.
What?
Let's not talk about GBC now. In the end of the session,
Well, I'm
bro.
only pointing out, get rid of the GBC and we can have that experience that I have.
Hari, 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 Hari Bol. Jai.
Haribol.
So Vinayak Prabhu, you have anything to say, Prabhu? You've joined recently again. Hari Bol. Vinayak Prabhu. Vinayak Prabhu.
No,
Hari
Prabhu.
Bol.
Not
How-
now. I'm just hearing.
Nothing else. No,
Vinayak Prabhu, I worship your lotus feet. You're so intelligent.
Don't
Thank
do this, Prabhu. I worship your lotus feet.
I
Please
just want
accept
to
my
clarify.
obeisance. Your glory to Srila Prabhu.
It is I who am your eternal servant, Vinayak Prabhu.
Hari.
Please guide us, Prabhu, for everything.
Exactly, bro.
All I can do is give you what I have, but it's up to you to be able to understand it, and it's up to you to accept it and understand it. If you can accept and understand what I'm saying, you will get Prabhupada the next birth.
Hari, 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 Hari Bol. Jai.
Because there's nobody in between the Jiva and Prabhupada except the false ego.
Exactly, bro.
So we give up the false ego. And you can see,
Yeah.
here we have Emmanuel. He gives up the false ego. You know?
Any ending questions,
Oh,
ending
he
answers?
gives up the
Emmanuel,
false ego. And then you, Prabhu, you give up the false ego. That's good. So is
Yeah.
there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I'm
Any
for
ending
myself.
answers, anything?
Thank you.
Yeah, bro.
Jai.
Go ahead. I interrupted
All
you. Bro.
glories to your Lord.
No,
You
no,
say it
I'm
again.
filled. I'm filled. Prabhu. Thank you, Mohit.
We're getting closer to 11 o'clock. Should we cut out at this point?
Yeah,
we're
bro. We
good.
should cut off this point. It's
But Emmanuel,
like-
don't be a stranger. The more you come here, the more we become inspired.
Yeah, I don't want to be a stranger. It's just, the time zone.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
please give us
Yeah.
your association. It's very important, Prabhu. Please, Haribo.
Hey, boy.
Every once in a while, we meet 3 times a week. If you can meet once a week or once every 2 weeks, that'll be fine. You don't have
Haribo.
to come every night. But if you come every night, we'll be very happy. But if you come once every 2 weeks, we'll be very happy. We'll know, oh, Emmanuel is going to show up again.
Sure, bro. So, guys, I'm signing out. This is Mohit from India, Nanaram Prabhu from Florida, and Emmanuel Prabhu from where? Where are you,
Delaware.
bro?
Yeah, in Delaware. Bro.
Delaware, and Vinayak Prabhu from Japan. Signing out. Thanks for the superb association, all the devotees.
Actually,
Nana.
I'm from Los Angeles.
Oh, sorry. Nana Prabhu is from Los Angeles. Vinayak Prabhu from Japan. Emmanuel Prabhu from Delaware. What was it?
Delaware.
Devoy. So,
Jai.
signing out. Jai, done with pranam to all the devotees.
Very good.
Hare
And
Krishna.
Hey, Krishna.
Mohit Prabhu, I would like to say, I feel your association so strongly now because
Thank you
your
so
mind
much,
is
bro.
not involved. Your heart is involved.
Heart. heart is involved, Prabhu. That's very
Your
important.
consciousness is involved. The mind and consciousness are not related. Consciousness is the jiva. The mind is a material element that tries to figure things out. So the
Yes,
less
Prabhu.
we don't want to figure anything out, just the
Yeah.
jiva and the intention. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Where's the chairman of the board?
Pro is left, so I'm leaving the meeting, Pro. Right, Pro?
Okay.
I'm just
Haribol.
ending the meeting. Hare Krishna, Dhanwad Prabhu.
Jai.